चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavata Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Today, in memory of His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj, we'll be very fortunate to hear from him. I'll be playing a recorded lecture, YouTube recorded lecture. This class was given in ISKCON Juhu, Mumbai. So I'll just give me a moment. I'll play the lecture from YouTube.
Chapter 5, and then it was 6, text number 6. Nama Sudaba Kila Dharma Setave Yadharma Shila Suradhuma Kitave Trailokya Gopaya Visuddha Vachase Mano Javayad Bhuta Karmane Gride Nama Sudaba Kila Dharma Shetave Yadharma Shila Suradhuma Kitave Trailokya Gopaya Visuddha Vachase Mano Javayad Bhuta Karmane Grine Nama Sudaba Kila Dharma Shetave Yadharma Shila Suradhuma Kitave Trailokya Gopaya Visuddha Vachase Mano Javayad Bhuta Karmane Grine Ladies, can't see it.
Knowing your way around Docker and its capabilities is a must for high quality production. All the best developers today.
Okay. Namaha. All respectful obeisances unto you. Sunaba. O you who have an auspicious hub. Akila Dharma Setave, whose spokes are considered to be a breach of the entire universe. He indeed, Adharmashila, who are irreligious, Asura, for the demons, Dhumaketavi, unto you, who are like fire or an inauspicious comet, Trailokya, of the three worlds. Oh, it says of the three material worlds. Gopaya, the maintainer. Vishuddha, transcendental. Varchase, whose effulgence. Manajavaya, as speedy as the mind. Adbhuta, wonderful. Karmane, so active. Grine, I simply utter. O Sudarshan, you have a very auspicious hub, and therefore you are the upholder of religion. You're just like an inauspicious comet for the irreligious demons. Indeed, you are the maintainer of the three worlds. You're full of transcendental effulgence. You're as quick as the mind, and you're able to work wonders. I can simply utter the word Namaha, offering all obeisances unto you. Purport. The disc of the Lord is called Sudarshan because he does not discriminate between high and low criminals or demons. Durvasa Muni was certainly a powerful Brahmana, but his act against the pure devotee, Maharaj Ambarish, were no better than the activities of Asuras. As stated in the Shastras, Dharmam tu saksat Bhagavat Pranitam, the word Dharma refers to the orders or laws given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarvadharmam pritayamamekam saranam vraja. Real Dharma is surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, real Dharma means bhakti, or devotional service to the Lord. The Sudarshan Chakra is here addressed as Dharma Setave, the protector of Dharma. Maharaj Ambarish was a truly religious person, and consequently, for his protection, the Sudarshan Chakra was ready to punish even such a strict Brahmana as Durvasa Muni, because he had acted like a demon. There are demons even in the form of Brahmanas. Therefore, the Sudarshan Chakra does not discriminate between Brahmana demons and Sudra demons. Anyone against the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees is called a demon. In the Shastras we find many Brahmanas and Kshatriyas who acted as demons and have been described as demons. According to the verdict of the Shastras, one has to be understood according to his symptoms. If one is born of a Brahmana father, but his symptoms are demoniac, he is regarded as a demon. The Sudarshan Chakra is always concerned with annihilating the demons. Therefore he is described as Adharma Shila Sura Dhumaketave. Those who are not devotees are called Adharma Shila. The Sudarshan Chakra is just like an inauspicious comet for all such demons. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnanana Salakaya Shakshurun Minitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is that good water? Lord Krishna cannot tolerate offenses against his devotees. And equally so, the Sudarshan Chakra, the weapon of the Lord, also manifests as a personality. So also the Sudarshan Chakra cannot tolerate any misbehavior towards the devotees. But when the devotee on behalf of the offender requests the Lord to please forgive an offender, then what can the Lord do? Then the Lord will be inclined to forgive such a person. Although previously he was very angry. Durvasa Muni had acted very inappropriate with Ambarish Maharaj because, all right, he came while Ambarish Maharaj had been pursuing a fast for a long time. There was the Paran, there was the time to break the fast, and Durvasa Muni came as a guest. So it is customary, and in those days certainly, that first the guest should eat and then the host will eat. So, but here was a complication because he was supposed to break the fast, so what to do? So the king consulted with some brahmanas, and then they advised, yes, you can take little water because taking water is both maintaining the fast or breaking the fast. So in this way you fulfill both purposes. So Maharaj Ambarish did that, and then because Durvasa Muni had mystic power, he could understand that Ambarish had acted in this way. Subsequently, Durvasa Muni created this demoniac personality with the desire to kill Ambarish Maharaj. So we can see what an excessive behavior on his side. And not appreciating at all Ambarish Maharaj's position, and seeing rather the external designation according to Varnashram, where Durvasa Muni was a Brahmana and Ambarish Maharaj a Kshatriya. So here we see how Varnashram is being misused, how Varna ashram can become a system which is misused for various personality to take an elevated position and place themselves above others, and then rather than a system of protection becomes a system of punishment. And so it happened not only in the case of Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj, but nowadays we look back, this is a history of India, where the original pure Varnashram system, which was meant for protection, where everyone was finding shelter, everyone was finding some prescribed duty. It is very interesting. A little while ago, I was looking at a book about human rights, and then it addressed also what about human rights in the Hindu culture. They raised that question, and then the writer said that's not really the spirit, that's not the spirit of India. The spirit of the West is, what is my right? What is my right? The spirit of India is, what is my duty? What is my duty? So this is actually the appropriate culture, where everyone is acting according to prescribed duty. And there is a prescribed duty for everyone. So this principle of prescribed duty is Dharma, and then we add to that Varna Ashram, a system of 4 Varnas and 4 ashrams, so that everyone has a clear concept of his duty. So that is spiritual culture, because spiritual culture is based on duty. And non-spiritual culture is, all right, what is my right? What is my right? Of course, there were human rights also. We can make a case that in Vedic literature there is rights, because pragya, whatever has, praja, whatever has taken birth has a right to exist. The king is meant to protect and provide for all living beings. All living creatures, somehow or other, have a right to exist. That is the concept of praja. So there's a sense of right in the Vedic culture. But still, the dharmena hina pasubir sasamana, without prescribed duty, without dharma, a human being becomes like an animal. At the same time, it is said that Varna Ashram should be sansidir haritosanam, should be there for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise it is srama evihi kevalam, simply a waste of time. Right? Because tasyaivahi te prayati te kovido yad brahmatam uparyada. One may sometimes engage in pious activities, go upward, get a higher position in the universe, in higher regions, and other times one engages in impious activities and one goes down in the universe. So what is the point? What is the point of pious activities? What is the point of Varna Ashram, which is not connected to devotional service? Certainly, one can come to the mode of goodness, but without devotional service, even that will be lost. Even those good qualities again will disappear. So, in this way, we are engaging not only in Varna Ashram. For Vaishnavas, Varna Ashram is of a secondary nature, because Varna Ashram is a material system. It is a support system of existing in the material world, but in itself not transcendental. But at the same time, though, it is a system that has been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaturvarna Maya Sristam, it has been created by the Lord. So the Lord has created this material designations for us to become purified. So it's not something that should be ordinarily dismissed. Rather, we are utilizing that system to live a life of piety, but without devotional service, it is in itself not essential. Devotional service is the one activity that makes everything auspicious. That is the nature of pure devotional service, is that it is subhada. It brings auspiciousness. So devotional service then is is the one activity that must be always part of every situation. Then in this material world we also have to interact with the material energy, and we have a body made of the material energy, and we need to maintain the body made of material energy, and it requires so many arrangements, and as time goes on, more and more arrangements. In old age, one runs from one doctor to another, all day busy with the body, all night busy with the body. Always so much arrangement required for this material body. However, that must be in any given situation. First of all, the priority is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Durvasa Muni had not realized this, the importance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was certainly attached to the Vedas and to performing the injunctions of the Vedas. And as a result, he was getting benefits and powers from living according to the Vedas. However, his objective was exactly those benefits, the power that he was obtaining from his Brahminical activities, his Brahma Tejas. That was his interest. So he was interested in power, therefore he pursued mystic power. But what is the point of such things? Such things are simply temporary. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes the story of a man who met an astrologer, and the astrologer mentioned, your father, he left you great wealth, but your father died in foreign land, and therefore he could not tell you where the wealth actually was hidden. But it is like this. If you search carefully, you will find. He said, but take these instructions. If you dig to the north, there is a big black snake. If you dig towards the south, there are wasps and drones. And if you dig towards the west, there is a terrible ghost that will possess you. So you must carefully dig towards the east. So then the purport of this narrative from the Chaitanya Charitamrita is that the black snake, which is found by digging in the north, refers to mystic power. It said, so mystic power is like a black snake. When we have mystic power or pursue mystic power, that mystic power will devour us. In what sense? In the sense that we lose sight of the goal, and that mystic power in itself will become the goal, because power will become our goal. Thus we will be in competition with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore we will simply lose all our real credits. So in that sense, it devours us like a big black snake. If one becomes very powerful, that is dangerous. If we go towards the south, especially in the south, there is so much demigod worship, so much karma kanda. So it said this karma kanda is like wasps and drones that sting us. And towards the west, there is impersonalism. So this impersonalism, that will possess us like a ghost. And then even when we hear about Krishna, we can no longer have faith in Krishna. It will destroy our faith. Yes. But if we dig then towards the east, the path of devotional service, then we can very easily attain the wealth, the Daivi Sampad, the spiritual wealth. So this is our understanding. Rupa Goswami says, Vaidike lokike vapayat kriya kriyate mune harisi vanakulaiva. He says that whether we are following the Vedic system of Varna Ashram, or whether we are following the Lokic system, simply whatever is practical. Whatever is Hariseva Anukul, whatever is auspicious for the service of the Lord, that is acceptable. So here's the higher principle. We are following Varna Ashram, but if it is sometimes impractical, then no problem. As long as the service of the Lord is in our mind, and if it's sometimes more favorable to break the principles of Varnashram Dharma, if that's more advantageous to the Supreme Lord, yes, then that is fine. Because the essence is the service of the Supreme Lord, and not Varnashram. Also, traditionally, Diksha was where one would receive Upanayam. Traditionally, one would receive Gayatri, and one would be brought closer to the Lord. Then we see that in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is also Pancharatrik. There is the Pancharatrik Upanayam given, not the Vedic Upanayam, that's one thing. And another is there is Harinam, which is also given. So now Srila Bhaktisiddhanta formalized that, and now our system of initiation is 2 initiations. Whereas traditionally in Vedic system, there was only one, the Upanayam. So how about that? First of all, Srila Prabhupada established that of the 2, actually Harinam was the most important. Because in Harinam, we make the sambandha. At the time of Harinam, the Lord actually accepts us as His devotee. Then, with the Upanayam, at Harinam, we are promising to chant the holy name and to avoid sinful activities. At the time of Upanayam, we are meant to become situated in the mode of goodness. Samodamastapo saucham ksantir arjvam evikya jnana vijnanam astikyam brahmakam svabhavajam. The various qualities by which the brahmanas work are mentioned in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Equanimity, sense control, austerity, cleanliness, tolerance, forgiveness, simplicity, arjavam, jnana, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. So these are these activities by which the brahmanas work. However, when we are studying the second initiation in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition a little deeper, then we see that it's not just the Brahminical initiation. There are 7 Gayatri mantras which are given at the time of second initiation. The first Gayatri mantra is the one that everybody knows, that you can hear over every loudspeaker from any Hindu temple. But of course it has no potency in that way, because it must be received in parampara. So that is the Brahma Gayatri. And that is the Gayatri that Brahmanas were chanting, and the aim of the Brahma Gayatri is to see that everything rests on Brahman. But then there are 6 other Gayatri mantras chanted by Gaudiya Vaishnavas, which I cannot explain in detail in a public lecture. But the principle of them is that they deal with our devotional service, our relationship of devotional service with Guru and Gauranga and Lord Krishna. So in this way, these mantras take us to the transcendental platform. They are not speaking about Brahminical activity, they speak about the pure transcendental platform of pure devotional service to Krishna. And that is our aim, our single aim. Ket chit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. We have only one goal, pure devotional service. And whatever serves that purpose of pure devotional service to Krishna, that we will accept. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Whatever is favorable for pure devotional service, we'll accept. Whatever is not favorable, we will reject. We can see that externally, Durvasa Muni was the superior. And Ambarish Maharaj was acting according to the external guidelines of Varna Ashram. But we can see that internally, Ambarish Maharaj was the superior. Because we can see that internally, Ambarish Maharaj was closer to Krishna. And therefore that in the line of Krishna, he was the authority. And that in front of the Lord, Ambarish Maharaj was able to pacify the Sudarshan Chakra, whereas Durvasa Muni was extremely powerful because he could run from the Sudarshan Chakra. He could even run towards the spiritual world. He could even go before the Supreme Lord and ask him to be relieved of the chakra. And the Lord basically said, I'm so sorry, but you've offended my devotee. There is nothing I can do. Nothing. So
மாறுங்க அர்பன் கம்பெனியோட யூனிக் ஃபோம் ஜெட் சர்வீசிங் இருக்கு. புது ஏசி மாதிரி கூலிங். At $599, all inclusive.
was able to pacify the Sudarshan Chakra. So at this stage, Ambarish Maharaj is now offering prayers. O Sudarshan, you have a very auspicious hub, and therefore you are the upholder of all religion. And it says here, Akila Dharmashe Teve, whose spokes are considered to be a breach of the entire universe. So now the wheel has spokes, and a breach means it's like breaking the universe up in segments. That means the whole universe appeared to be covered by the Sudarshan Chakra. The effulgence of the Sudarshan Chakra could be perceived throughout the whole universe. That's basically what he is saying here. And then he points out that you are just like an inauspicious comet for the irreligious demons. But for the devotee, obviously the Sudarshan Chakra is the greatest blessing. So, you are the maintainer of the three worlds. You're full of transcendental effulgence. So that transcendental effulgence which burns the non-devotee or the demon is not burning the devotee. So in this rather is blessing the devotee, because that Sudarshan Chakra is is gaining its effulgence only from the Supreme Lord. So, for the devotee, everything is auspicious. In this way, in this particular pastime of Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand the relationship between Varnashram and devotional service. Srila Prabhupada further comments about Varnashram and refers to the verse Yasya Laksanam Proktam Pumsam Vanevijam Jakam Yat Anyatrapi Dristyeta Tattenaiva Vinirda said that one is classified within Varna Ashram according to one's consciousness and one's activities, right? And not according to birth. Chaturvarnyam Nanyasistam Guna Karma Vibhagasa, not Janma Karma Vibhagasa. Bhagavad Gita also it said the Lord created the 4 Varnas and one is situated within them according to guna, not according to janma, according to qualification, not according to birth. So, in this way we understand that one is a Brahmana Kshatriya by qualification. But I've already at length explained that even if one is situated nicely in the mode of goodness, still, that is still not enough. Yes, yasti bhaktir bhagavatira kinchana sarve samasate hara harava kutusho mahatguna manoratina sati davatu bahi. One is again taken away by the mind, by the manorat. The chariot of the mind will carry us away, even if we are in the mode of goodness. Even if one has all the good qualities of the Devatas, still that's not enough. If that connection with the Supreme Lord is not there. That's why we see the focus of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is exclusively the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For example, in the Chaitanya Bhagavatam, it is mentioned how after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been in Gaya and had been in contact with Ishvara Puri and was initiated, he had changed and he came back to Navadvip as a great devotee. So by then everything was different. So he went to teach in the Tall. He went to teach his Sanskrit grammar to his students. So his mother, upon returning from teaching, his mother asked him, "So, from what book have you been speaking today?" And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I have been speaking about Krishna Nam today. I have been speaking about Krishna Nam." And then he continued to explain that only those scriptures that are fully dedicated to pure devotional service of Krishna are considered to be revealed scripture. So there are many Vedic literatures that may not be dedicated to pure devotional service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had no interest in them, just no interest. So no interest in Karma Kanda, no interest in Jnana Kanda, simply interest in pure devotional service. So that is our movement. That is our movement, a constant focus on pure devotional service. And then Varnashram, it is like important when we are conditioned. I may offer the example just how when we have an injury on the leg, we cannot walk properly and we require crutches, we require support. So we walk with crutches. Then once the foot is healed, then we do not require the crutches any longer. Therefore, as long as we are conditioned by the material energy, we are crippled. we need crutches. But when we are liberated, we do not need crutches, because our consciousness doesn't depend on a system of purification, on a system of many rules and regulations to bind us at every step, prescribed duty, because we will naturally act for the pleasure of Krishna. So in this way, then Varna ashram is no longer required. And then we get Naham Vipra Nacha Narapatir Napi Vaishana Sudra Naham Vani Nacha Kriya Patir Novanasta Yatir Vakintu Projana Kila Paramanandari Tabde Gopi Bharta Pada Kamala Yordas Nadas. Then we get this point. I'm not anything of the ashrams, of the varnas. I'm not anything of that. I'm simply the servant of the servant of the gopis, who are the ultimate devotees of Krishna. So this is the prayer that shows the liberated transcendental platform. That is a Vaishnav prayer where the crutches are no longer required. But currently, in our conditioned state, we are careful, very careful, to take shelter of our ashrams. We are more strict about ashram than about varna, because sometimes for the service of the Lord, we may have to change in different activities. We may do puja in the morning, some Brahminical activity. During the day, we may sell something, and we are just acting like a pakabanya, no, give little more. Yes, no, for you, I give special discount if you take the full set. Yes, you take. And we can, no, for you we make no profit. No profit. No. Whatever we, somehow or other, we sell those books, right? So it looks like externally we are engaging in the different activities of the various varnas. That can change in one day. But if you change the ashrams in one day, it becomes a problem. If you're a brahmachari in the morning, a grihastha at noon, at 4 o'clock you're vanaprastha, and at night you take sannyas, and the next day you start again as grihastha, that may not be a good idea. So ashram, we very much take shelter of our ashram and remain very fixed in that ashram. And only after deep deliberation are we changing ashram. And we see Srila Bhakti Siddhanta did not accept the Babaji Vesh, which is supposed to be beyond Varna ashram. He took sannyas, which is within Varna ashram. So, in this way, even when we are at a liberated stage, we still are adhering to the principles of Varna ashram, to teach others, and because we never see ourselves as liberated. We ourselves simply think we are fallen. Just like Srila Prabhupada, there's that famous purport where it is described how Dhruva Maharaj is going back to Godhead. And death appears before Dhruva, and death offers obeisances to Dhruva. Dhruva steps on the head of death. There is a Vaikuntha plane, and Dhruva steps straight into the Vaikuntha plane. Then the plane is about to take off, and then Dhruva says, wait a minute, what about my mother? She was the one who gave me instructions to get on this spiritual path. So what about her? Then Dhruva sees that there is another Vaikuntha plane. His plane is already in the sky, but he sees his mother is following him in another plane. And then Prabhupada writes in the purport, he says, in the same way, I pray that one of my disciples may become a pure devotee and deliver me from this cycle of birth and death. So now here we're seeing some extraordinary humility. So in this way, the pure devotee may be liberated, but doesn't see himself as liberated. Therefore, he'll still take shelter of Varna ashram. And in this way, he'll be the perfect example to all the followers of how to actually take shelter of Varna ashram. Srila Prabhupada was a first-class sannyasi. Even when Upendra, his servant, wanted to leave him alone with his sister, Prabhupada said, no. And they were both like in late 70s at the time, right? And Prabhupada said, no, you can never leave me alone with a woman. Your sister, she's late 70s, so to koi problem to nahi. Nay. No, you can never leave me alone. So Prabhupada is very strict about adhering to sannyas dharma. And in this way, was transparent to the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was very strict about sannyas dharma. And in this way, as Mahaprabhu did, taught a perfect example to the world for many to follow in the future. Okay, I will end. Are there any questions or any comments? बस जोर से बोलिए, ठीक है मैं कोई बात नहीं. I mentioned the story from the Chaitanya Charitamrita about the astrologer.
It's like attaining mystic powers.
And I explained it. Okay.
So, Maharaj, we see that in our path in spiritual life, when we are getting some post, positions, we're getting some power. So it's like we also get very much influenced by such facilities, and it like come on our head, and it may, like as you mentioned, devour us. So how one side we have to serve Srila Prabhupada and accept such responsibilities to go move ahead, take ahead of a movement. On the other side, it become difficult obstacle in our life. So how one can take precaution and be safer side?
So, to summarize the question, I mentioned in the story of the CC how Durvasa Muni became overwhelmed by mystic power and how it was devouring him, and a desire to accumulate personal power came to the foreground rather than being the servant. So in this way, his mystic power was not helpful. Then Prabhu is raising the point that we may also get another position of power or influence, and then we become obsessed by that power or influence, and it may also take us away from pure devotional service. At the same time though, since we are part of a preaching movement and are not just living in Vrindavan as renounced Babajis who can stay away from as little Maya as possible, as little opportunity for Maya as possible. As preachers, we cannot live like Jat Bharat did, who was avoiding any interaction with the material world as much as possible. As preachers, we have to deal with the material energy, and we have to also deal with position. So we take positions of responsibility. I mean, look at me sitting on a throne in front of everyone, garland and all these things, all these attributes. How to deal with this? There is only one way, and that is Service, 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 service. And then in between some more service and some more service. And then in between still more service. In the heart there is a vacuum, a big emptiness that has come since we turned away from the Supreme Lord and have become conditioned souls. So in the heart there is this vacuum, and this vacuum must be filled up with devotional service. And we hear that it should be ahaitaki apatiyata, pure devotional service, uninterrupted and unmotivated. But that's not the case. We do little service. We chant 4 rounds, then we think, now I'm tired, now I can talk for 5 minutes. Or, we chant then 6 rounds, think, now I'm hungry, now I can eat something. Then 8 rounds, we think, now I'm tired, now I can rest a little bit because then I can chant better. Or whatever. We interrupt. We do a little service, take a break. We do a little service, take a break. So we interrupt our service, and the motivation is not pure. Like in the Nectar of Devotion, surrender is described twice. And once it is described as Atmanivedanam, and the other time it is described as Saranapati. And it said, when it is Atmanivedan, one surrenders, but one surrenders externally. One gives everything. And whereas in Saranapati, one surrenders everything externally, but internally one also becomes subservient towards the Lord. So completely dedicated. So when this internal part is not there, when we are internally not fully dedicated to the Lord, then it will be a problem. Even if, first of all, we take on externally more service, more service, more service, more service. And then we have to internally just become a servant and not internally sit there within all that service and think, look at me, I'm doing so much service. Everyone can see. Everyone can see I'm getting up before everyone else. Everyone can see I'm chanting 64 rounds because I have 64 counting beats on my beat bag. Everyone can see all the external achievements that I have. No, we should simply focus on, okay, I give, but first the external should be put in place. First let us be really engaged in the service of the Lord, fully. Service, more service in between, more service still. And then internally try to make that commitment. I have no claim to fame. Everything I have, my Lord, is what you have lent to me. My intelligence, you have lent it to me. If you want, you can just take it away. My voice here, Kadamba Kanana Swami, Super Kirtan, has no voice when he came to Bombay. See, sang Radha Madhava, he's already hoarse. Too bad. Mumbai, no Kirtan for Mumbai. Not possible. Crow. Lord took it away. Gone. Like this, simply get engaged in service and then develop that internal commitment. Remind ourselves, I'm just a servant of the Lord. Then we can come to that Saranapati, where we're fully the servant of the Lord, from the heart and fully engaged. Then it doesn't matter. You can see, Prabhupada had the biggest position and yet was not affected by it. He sits, there's this picture, one of my favorite pictures of Prabhupada, is there is this huge silver throne. And Prabhupada is sitting on that throne, and his hands are folded, like in pranam, and his head is tilting to one side. And on his face there is an expression from, please forgive. What I read from his face is this: please forgive me. I know it's a monster of a throne. No human being should sit on such a throne. But what can I do? It's my duty, because I'm the representative of Krishna Parampara. So I have to do. But not thinking, oh, now I'm sitting on the big seat. I am so learned, I am so qualified, I am now Brahmana, I am now all these things. Yes. We also take pride in our Brahminical thread. Oh yes. Let's do more service and then internally make the adjustments. Okay. Thank you. There?
Maharaj, presently more than misusing varnashrama, we neglect that. So
Okay. Misusing varna ashram, neglecting varna ashram. Yes, these are all things you can do with varna ashram. Strangle varna ashram, kick varna ashram, try and get rid of varna ashram. Yes, we can do. In the name of Krishna consciousness, we can give it up also. Although it's not really for service that we give it up. We can just give it up because it's too much trouble. You know, all these prescribed rules and duties, too much trouble, you know. So I don't want this varnashram, and then I justify it as Vaishnavas, it's not so important. But it is a great help. It is a great help. It will help us to come to the mode of goodness and to act according to prescribed duty, which means selfless. See? The Sudra is inclined to act according to the mind and the senses. The Vaishya has some more training. He will be inclined towards Dharma, but when it comes to the choice between Dharma and profit, then what can you do? So he's always calculating his personal advantage. When it comes to personal advantage, what to do? I will not follow this. I will, what to do. Kshatriya is inclined to sacrifice for Dharma. Brahmana, Dharma is before anything. So like this we're seeing. So we don't come from such a Brahminical state of consciousness. So Kalo Sudra Sambhava, the tendency is to do what the mind and the senses dictate. Therefore it's not surprising that we are neglecting Varna Ashram. Varna Ashram, although it's not the ultimate goal, is certainly a step up from where we are. So it takes us up, it lifts us up if we take shelter of Varna Ashram. Then beyond it is the pure transcendental platform. Yes. But if we stay in our Sudra conditioning, and then we say, we are transcendental to Varna Ashram, then we are cutting ourselves off from an important element of purification. So Varna Ashram is helpful. Just like an injured person, he needs the crutches. No, I don't need the crutches. Use your crutches, you fool. Your foot is not ready to take the weight. You need them. So we do need Varna Ashram. TK. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Radharas Bihari ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Let me
Hare Krishna. We are eternally grateful to Maharaj for sharing such wonderful insights and also for his melodious kirtan. Many wonderful points from the lecture about the rights and duties and Varnashrama Dharma and how interacts with devotional service. Devotees can share any reflections for Maharaj they would like to.
The Chaitanya Charitamrita story was very nice, Prabhu, about that the person going to the astrologer and his interpretation of the different things.
Yes, yes.
Very nice, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Sure then. Okay, we'll conclude today's session. We'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranams, and also we pray to the Sri Radharas Bihari, because he was in Juhu when he was giving this lecture, so that they can give him his shelter, their shelter to His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj. Of course, he's definitely worthy of it, but still will, in our humble mode, will pray for his divine shelter, for their divine shelter. With Vancha, with Vaishnava Pranams, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll conclude here. We'll meet again tomorrow.